I'm Jacob, and you are watching the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. Today, I want to talk about a knife that's a little bit unique for what I currently personally own, and that is the Hella Viking, a hidden tang Viking Norwegian-made puko with laminated steel. It's a very unique piece, very different than what I normally do here, and I'm excited to talk to you about it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the specs really briefly. I'm going to give a general overview of the knife and sheath, and then we're going to talk about my first impressions on the knife and where we're going to go from here. So stay tuned and check it out. So what do you get in the box? The box, by the way, is very nice. We get this leather sheath, which is allegedly a traditionally correct sheath. It's nice. It's got a bit of retention for leather. It's not necessarily hard, but it's just a nice little sheath. The carry system here is unique, and I don't know if I'm actually using it correctly. It came with two loops like this, and so I tightened one of the loops so I could loosen the other, and I dangle it from my belt like so. But it's a nice little sheath. Basically, some of the things that I've noticed, the balance of this knife is very unique. It's very blade heavy. This wood handle weighs almost nothing, and you've got it peened here at the end. Very simple, but I do like it. No finger guard. Kind of an oval shape that's sharper at one side than the other on the front here. Now, this is a laminated steel, and it is a true zero ground Scandi knife. It didn't come quite as sharp as I would expect over the entire length of the blade. I did strop it all to about where I want it, but I need to do a little bit more work, so I wasn't entirely satisfied with that. However, I'll say that I definitely like the knife. It's very unique, and I'm curious to see how the laminated steel holds up. It's got softer steel at the edges, so you've got a square spine, but I'm interested in seeing if you strike a ferrule off of this a lot, will that softer metal on the outside of the laminated steel round over and stop striking effectively, or will it keep on? But that's what you get there. Very, very cool, very unique, traditional looking knife, the Hella Viking. So, one of the first things that all of my dads here are going to be thinking is they're going to be wondering, is this just a good knife, or is this a hell of a good knife? See what I did there? Alright, so like I had mentioned previously, the edge didn't come quite as finished as I would have liked. At the price point, I would expect better, and with Hella's reputation, I would expect better, but stuff happens. I applaud Hella for trying to go out of their way to bring back a traditional knife. I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool that it's made in Norway. We don't get a lot of stuff over here that's made in Norway. I think it is a quality knife. What are my thoughts overall? Well, it's going to be fun. I have enough knives in my collection to enjoy knives just because they're fun. And this knife was given to me as a gift for my birthday from one of my amazing subscribers. Thank you so much. However, so some of my concerns, I think that if you were to use this as a modern bushcraft, firecraft knife, I don't think this handle is going to take a lot of abuse. You've got a hidden tang. It's peened right there, and if the wood starts to chip, it starts to crack. Maybe because it gets too dried out. Maybe because it gets too wet. Maybe because it gets too wet and then too dry and then too wet and then too dry, and you're beating on it and it cracks. You're going to have a loose knife. On the positive side, I think a competent bladesmith would be able to rehandle it fairly easily. I think the stock thickness is thicker than what I would expect for a good Scandi grind. I'd like to see this offered in something like a 1/16 of an inch. I think would be fantastic. I also think that might not be an option with the laminated steel. But my thought with the laminated steel is the idea is you've got 3 layers of steel. You've got a center core, which I'm having a hard time finding out exactly what it is, and I don't like mystery steels. But a hardened core and then a softer carbon on the outsides. Now, all I've been able to find for Hella's laminated steels was their stainless, which is an ABL core, and I think an 18 series stainless, which I don't even believe is generally a knife steel, slapped around that. I think that's fantastic. With the carbon, I don't know if it's so necessary, and also I don't think whatever core that they're using probably needs to be strengthened by being sandwiched by a softer steel if this is the handle that it's in. However, I could be wrong on all counts, and at the end of the day, I really just appreciate this knife for what it is, a historic throwback. I enjoy carrying it in this manner. It's not as one-hand capable as what I've come to be used to with Kydex sheaths and stuff, but it is nice. It does carry comfortably. And so how I see myself using this knife is likely basic fire prep, carving, and food prep. It's not big enough. It's certainly not big enough for chopping. It's not big enough to be a go-to for batoning. And even if I could get something that was this thick to baton and just hard as a rock, it's not the knife that I would choose to do that. Even if I have enough tip to go through, I just wouldn't really feel comfortable doing it. So mainly, for the primary part of this review, it'll probably baton little kindling. And here's the deal, guys. Any of your knives, even your Swiss Army knife, with a non-locking folding blade, if you're batoning up little pieces of cedar that are this thick in diameter and not filled with knots, or even if they are probably filled with knots, and you're just trying to get to a really nice dry core to get a fire going in a hard situation, your knife's going to be able to handle it. You guys, you need to calm down with the absolute fear of batoning. And for all of the guys that are like, oh, carry an axe, you know what's weird is if they go out on adventures, if they go out from their car more than 100 feet, are they carrying an axe? No. It's silly. Maybe there wasn't a word for batoning 100 years ago because nobody needed a word for it. Like if you needed to split a piece of wood, you split your piece of wood, and it wasn't worthy of being a topic of discussion. But that's how I see myself using this. I'm pretty excited to see how it patinas. The only way that I've used it so far was cutting some underlayment from some laminate flooring. And that's not how I would intend to use this knife. But guys, knives have to be versatile. I had a problem. I had to cut some underlayment at that moment. This happens to be the knife that I had on me. And it was a little bit thick for the task, and the edge was not as good as it should have been for the task. So I think we're going to strop this up to snuff, and we're going to see really how it goes. That's all I've got for this blade, however. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. How would you use this knife? Do you baton? Let's have a discussion about batoning. And you know what? If you think an axe is the better tool for the job, do you keep your axe sharp? And when you're out on this whole camping trip and you're splitting wood with an axe, do you use a nice log to split your stuff on top of or against, or are you splitting right down into the dirt? Because I don't think people realize on the trail how impractical an axe can actually be for batoning. I've been wanting to do a video about it for a long freaking time now, but an axe, a hatchet, is a chopping tool and a working tool. Hatchet's not really a splitting tool, guys. So stop repeating what your friends are saying. I'm way off topic at this point. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Check out the description box below to see how you can support this channel. I'm glad